off, and we are super excited, super pumped. It's Monday and it's Monday afternoon. Maybe it's still morning where you are, but right now for us, it is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in this particular Monday Mindset. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss, live with two.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. A good afternoon, of course, or a good Monday morning, wherever you are from.
And we are
two sisters. Did I forget to say that?
I think you did, but I don't know. It could be me. I don't know. It's Monday, and that
Well,
mindset's all over the place. What the heck?
As long as we are not punching in the wrong buttons or hitting a delete button or something, I think we're doing pretty good. Even with the bad hair day, it's all good. And of course, we have an amazing guest on today. When we talk wellness, overall wellness is such a broad, very heavy topic. And today's guest, she is a certified functional and medicine health coach. And we have so many questions to ask her, but first we want to welcome you, Jenny, to the Two Sistas podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Janice and Carol Sue. I'm excited to be here.
You are so welcome. And of course, so that our listeners do know, we are also simulcasting through the Wisdom audio app. And thank you so much to all of our amazing listeners who are currently hopping on. I see some couple familiar names. So thank you so much for being here today. A certified functional medicine health coach.
That's a mouthful.
It is. And I know your journey to become that type of a health coach was really brought about by what you experienced yourself, and of course your family members and perhaps friends who really had a hard time with their health.
Yes. Yeah. I lost both of my parents. I consider them very young. My mom was 52 when she passed away from breast cancer. And my dad was 61 when he passed away from a massive heart attack. And his heart attack was a result of kidney failure from unmanaged type 2 diabetes. So that was kind of like, that really shook my world, because I grew up with both sets of grandparents into my 20s. I lost my first grandparent when I was 21 years old. So I had every intention, every vision of my future was my parents were a big part of it. They were going to be there when I had kids. They were going to be a part of my community. My mom was going to help me watch my kids, all the things. So when they both passed away fairly young, it was just like eye-opening to me that we're not guaranteed longevity. And just knowing their journey and what they went through, I do know that a lot of their lifestyle habits had an impact on their overall health. And so my whole background, my career background is social work and educational counseling. And when we moved to Arizona, so I'm originally from Southern California, we moved to Phoenix about 5 years ago. I told my husband, I'm like, I'm just going to take a break from work, get the kids acclimated to their school, volunteer, do all the things. Well, that was the time in my life where I started actually slowing down, taking care of myself, reading books, listening to podcasts. And I read Deep Nutrition by Dr. Kate Shanahan. It's a very thick, sciencey book. And in the book, she talks about our blood sugar. And she said, if your blood sugar is 90 and above, you are on your way to prediabetes, type 2 diabetes. So I went and bought one of those over-the-counter blood sugar monitors because, obviously I'm alerted to that with what my dad had gone through. And took my blood sugar. It was 117. It's very high. Went to my endocrinologist. I said, you need to test my A1C. I need to know where I'm at. My A1C was 5.6. Prediabetes is 5.7. And when I asked the doctor, oh my gosh, what can I do? That is too close. Like, I need to get that down. What can I do? She goes, oh, you don't need to worry about that yet. You're fine. Just keep exercising and eating right. It sounds like you eat good. So really no answers, no preventative path for me to take to get my A1C lowered. So that's when I, with all the books I was reading, the podcasts I was listening to, that's when I went to functional medicine doctor. And so functional medicine and how they differ from conventional medicine is they look at the whole body as a system, and they look at how it's all connected. So like if you go to an endocrinologist, they're going to just focus on your endocrine system. That's all they're trained to do. They're not going to look at, maybe the gut is causing it, maybe toxins in the environment. Like they just don't go there. So with functional medicine, it's very root cause. They want to know everything from the time you were born, what kind of birth you had, what medical issues you have experienced, any trauma. They want to know all of that because all of that impacts our health and comes out in symptoms. So they also do lab work that's very different from conventional medicine. They do more labs that aren't covered by insurance companies. They have a shorter optimal range. So like, I think they just expanded the thyroid range too for optimization. So many women, especially some of the women that I've worked with, they go to the doctors, my thyroid's fine. They say that my labs are normal, but I don't feel normal. Like I just don't feel right. And that was what I was dealing with. I was going to my doctor. I'm like, I'm tired all the time. I don't feel right. Oh, you're a mom. It's normal to be tired all the time when you're a mom. And so I got tired of that way of care. And so when I experienced functional medicine and they address my diet, they address my stress, they, discuss supplementation versus medication, things like that. That was life-changing for me. And that was when I was at a crossroads in my career when I moved here. I've always been in the helping profession. And I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to go to school, get certified so that I can help women achieve optimal health and wellness, that they don't have to feel tired all the time. They don't have to, carry excess weight that they're having trouble getting off. Like it's just providing another avenue for them.
Well, first off, condolences on your parents. And
Thank
when
you.
you say they're fairly young, they're not fairly young. They were young. Absolutely. A lot of people talk about, 65 is the new 45. And I can attest to that because I am 65 years old. And what really resonated with what you were sharing about your journey was our mom also passed away at a young age of 65. And, at that point, I was, in my 40s, and I'm looking and still trying to wrap my brain around that, we're never going to see our mother look old because our mother had beautiful skin. She was overweight. Some people like to phrase it as big boned, which, she was a taller woman. And yes, because of that, she was big boned, but she was overweight. She was bloated. She had diabetes as well, did not take care of herself at all. She had segments of her lifetime where, she did, but towards the end. And I thought to myself, that was a pivotal period in my life where I was too feeling that tired, that worn out, that exhausted. And, I really utilized what our mom went through as the goal to also kind of dive into health and wellness, and especially gut health. Well, we are a firm believer that there are many ways of dealing with a lot of things that we're dealing with, whether it's diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. There are a lot of things out there that are really in our control that we can change and improve, not only by diet and exercise, but understanding, the root cause of what's really going into our gut.
Yes.
And that our bodies are a fight machine. We don't even use a lot of what we have, but everything that you've chatted about thus far, like that's my jam. And I do understand a lot of people do not understand, we always talk about the gut being the second brain, because we do, it's going to be nourishing all the different systems that tick in our body, that make our body run. But if it kind of like a simulation of a vehicle, if you're not doing the oil changes, you're not making sure you've got the right air pressure in your tire, if you're not checking your levels, if you're not washing your vehicle, you are not going to keep that machine in a fine, pristine, and running effectively and efficiently for the duration and longevity of the car that you're going to have this car for. Our bodies work the same way. And so what do you find when you're, chatting with your clients? Their biggest misconception, because there's so many different misconceptions of gut health. Like people will always talk about, one of the pickiest ones I have is breast cancer, because we do know that dairy is the number one cause of breast cancer, yet the Breast Cancer Society, to give you an example, will use their pink label on a dairy box, on a milk carton. Well, how the heck does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me. And so what would you say your clients, their biggest misconception is with having all those issues, relating that to nutrition and gut health?
There's a couple of things that you said that I want to touch on, because I don't want to badmouth like conventional doctors, because I think there are so many great doctors out there that really want the best for their patients.
Sure.
But they're really trained to treat symptoms with medications. It's just how they're trained. So my dad, probably like your mom, was told metformin, which is probably one of the better type 2 diabetic drugs that are out there on the market. This medicine is keeping your blood sugar stable. Like, you're doing great. Yeah, you should exercise and eat better, but they're really not given kind of that jump to go ahead and do that, because they're coming in for their blood work and everything's fine. But what they don't realize is that medicine is masking it. So it's going somewhere else, which is what happened to my dad. It affected his kidneys and his organs failed. But I think, in your mom's defense, in the sense that, and what a lot of people like my dad and a lot of people are dealing with right now, is the guidance that they're given from their medical doctors. And I think that's probably, like with my clients, a lot of them come to me for weight loss. And the biggest misconception with them is healthy food. Well, I thought this was healthy, or, this protein shake is healthy. And again, that's marketing. Just like you said with the Breast Cancer Association, with the pink label on the dairy, it's marketing. Like, who is it benefiting? It's a big business. Food company is big business. Same as big pharma. Like we really, unfortunately, can't trust that marketing. So we have to do our own research and find out, well, who's funding that, and what are their goals for that. So I think women is like, I can't eat too much fat or I'm going to get fat, which is total misconception, because fat is so good for our bodies and for our brains. It's really the ultra processed foods that are making us and keeping us sick.
And that is so true. And I like the fact that you are incorporating the medical piece to it, because we just had this conversation this morning with a great doctor, and that was one of my questions. The medical profession as a whole is trained a certain way. And I think that's where the change has to come, is they got to understand, that people, long gone are the days that, a patient goes in there and does exactly what the doctor says and doesn't ask the questions. We are our best advocates. And I think patients now are finding that, yes, I do have a voice. I'm the one wearing this body. I'm the one who has that mind that's thinking these things through. And I should be postured to know that I can ask the question. I may not get the answer I want, or I might find that I have a physician that doesn't want to partner with me in that regard. Then guess what? Shop around. Go find a doctor that wants to make you part of the process. I think that's changed, Jan. Don't you think that we're seeing a lot of that shift in the movement of, the patient and doctor?
Oh, it certainly, because I especially think that, what has transpired these last few years is that people really want to know. And I know that I'm kind of like generalizing that. And what I mean by that is, we are our best advocates. So, all right, if I'm taking metformin and my labs look great, well, then we should be, maybe the next question should be, then why are we taking it?
Mhm.
Okay, and then maybe the doctor may say, well, you can't just go off of it. All right, what are some things that I could, like, keep asking that why and digging backwards? You
Mhm.
know, is there
Yeah.
something that I can do? Because I've coached a lot of people that have been on metformin, and because they they finally worked, like really looked at their health as, okay, I'm in charge here. I don't have to accept this. And of course, I'm not saying going off your meds. That is not what
No.
I'm saying whatsoever.
No.
Exactly.
But if you had the opportunity to transition off of that in a very healthy way,
Mhm.
why wouldn't we do that? Or why wouldn't the physician say, well, here's some things you can work on? And
Right.
maybe, of course, that's where you certainly come in, that you can, guide them in that regard.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. It Pre-diabetes is reversible. Once you have type 2 diabetes, you have it. But the good news is, and what is not really discussed, is that you can eventually get off your medicine with lifestyle changes. And that's really just kind of putting in the work and learning how to eat, which is a struggle, especially here in America, right?
Everything's supersized.
Supersized bread before our meals. Like, we should be eating bread last. If you guys
Right.
have read Glucose Revolutions, Glucose Goddess's book, she talks about that, which is science driven, that, you can still have your carbs, just eat it a certain way. So
Right.
don't have your bread before the meal. Eat your fibrous veggies first to slow that blood sugar spike. So just learning how to eat and learning what to eat for your body. And that's so true, because I think we just are, just with my growing up too, you go to the doctor's the expert, whatever he says. Okay, thanks, doc. And I just started getting to the point where I was tired of hearing, it's okay, like, you're normal, everything looks good. Your blood work looks great, but then why am I crashing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Why am I depressed? Like, when I moved here, I was the heaviest I had ever been. I was really stressed out before I moved. I put on all this weight. I was depressed, but I really had no reason to be. We loved our new home. We made friends. My husband and I's relationship's amazing. I'm like, why am I depressed? Go to the doctor. 15 minutes later, I have a prescription for Wellbutrin. And it's like, and that was not what I needed. And so I tried it because, he told me that this will help. And it does help for some people. And I have had to use antidepressants in the past, especially after losing my mom and my dad. I think they are a great tool, but I don't think it's meant to be long-term.
Right.
We need to get to the root.
Yeah, and I think that's really a broad base of many issues when you think about your health, your mindset, your well-being, because we do that. Like you said, the word masking, we mask so many different symptoms. And wouldn't it be, gosh, just a better perspective to say, you know what? I'm in a detox. And when you hear the word detox, a lot of people cringe. Yeah, detox is not fun, people. We know that. But the detoxing I'm referring to really is allowing your body to go to that dark place and maybe start journaling and saying why, now I'm associating, I've cut this out and now I feel really bad, but I'm going to push through it to see if it gets better. And then maybe I get to the root cause of, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be introducing this at a certain time of day, or maybe this particular food group really is just not agreeing with my body. I mean, I think the other thing, the big piece is we don't understand that our bodies change every 7 years. So what you may ate and enjoyed in your 30s, could be playing havoc in your 40s. You just don't know. Don't you kind of agree with that? That's just, we've
Oh, yeah.
always got to keep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think too
Because
that, whoops, we're talking.
And yep.
Okay, we had a little bit of technical difficulty there. We do apologize. Jenny, can you still hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yes. Carol Sue's frozen, it looks like.
Yeah, Carol Sue is frozen. not sure what happened with that, but I think too, we'll try to figure out what's going on with that. But I think too that there are no short-term results with a long-term goal. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of times we might
Right.
go into something thinking, oh, well, of course, you're still seeing all these commercials like, Nutrisystem, this or that. And I'm not bashing those, but it's like, oh yeah, well, let me do that. Let me do that.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
without really kind
Yeah.
of like stopping for a moment and, think about, all right, what do I need short term, but what do I also need long term?
Mhm.
Carol, so
Yeah.
are you back? I think she's back a little bit,
I'm
but are you there?
I'm
Okay.
here. As
Okay.
long as you can hear me, I've been hearing you guys fine. So, and I think that is so true that we're so afraid to, kind of, and I don't like to use the term rock the boat, but aren't we worth that? Aren't we worth digging in a little bit deeper? And yeah, it may be a struggle, it may be hard, but if I find a certain food group and I've now kind of connected the dots, that may take the doctor even that much longer because I'm the one living the life every day. So
Yeah.
I think like journaling is a great avenue to kind of pinpoint different food groups,
Mhm.
as well as knowing, like you were talking about, you're finding out when your sugar spikes, if that's the issue,
Mhm.
or as far as weight. There are a lot of people that eat very what I consider clean diets, and they're still putting on weight, and they're
Mhm.
not realizing the stress value. Maybe it's the time of day that you're eating.
Mhm.
It maybe it's something as simple as that. So I think that we're always ever evolving with our bodies changing, and that we always got to be mindful to say, you know what, it's
Yeah.
my body. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, I got to be in charge.
Yeah. And that's what's frustrating, I think, for a lot of the women I work with is this used to work fine for me. I used to do this. I used to eat this way and do this and work out incredibly hard and lose all this weight, and I can't do it now. And it's like you said, our body is changing, our hormones are changing as we age, and we're in a we're in a time of our life where we're just so overstimulated with our phones and technology and all the chaos in the world. And that interferes and interrupts with just our self-care and especially with sleep. I feel like as we age too, we really need to prioritize our sleep. I notice, actually, as a matter of fact, yesterday, we went to a spring training game. I had a couple of drinks and we went to the sugar factory with my kids after, and I ate
Oh, boy.
sugar really close to bed. I had like the caramel M&Ms and, just popped a few of those. I woke up this morning, I have the aura ring and it's like, take it easy. Your heart rate did not drop last night. Just little things like that we don't
Yeah.
realize interferes with our rest and recovery. And that's the number one thing I address with women is sleep. They they tell me I sleep great. I sleep fine. I don't have any issues. But until you wear something like this or just really track kind of what's going on, you notice like, oh, I didn't sleep so well last night. My heart rate didn't drop. What's going on? And the stress, like carrying that stress, interferes with our sleep. So just making sure that you're implementing, you know, a routine and making sure you're not eating sugar too close to bed and maybe not drinking too close to bed and eating all those things. So
Absolutely. And I think with the sleep piece to it. Now, we talk about this often, that most people, associate with not having a good night's sleep with waking up very bitchy, very cranky, very irritable. Oh, I didn't get a good
mhm,
night's sleep. I thought I got a good night's sleep. Then why am I so cranky in the morning? Well, the key piece is, are you getting into that deep REM sleep? Because it's not just for the obvious of the mood.
yeah,
That's the time that our bodies actually naturally repair itself. And if
mhm,
we're not allowing that process, and we're not
yeah,
helping the process by, like you said, eating, drinking, doing all these things closer to that bedtime without
yeah,
really flushing. So I know, like I talk about this with my customers all the time, like just flush that body out and make sure that you're giving your body and your digestive system a good 2 hours, two
mhm,
plus hours before you decide.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, and we
She
just,
froze again. 2 hours before you go to bed. Yes.
Man, don't put the boob tube on. Just get into a nice play music.
Yeah. Well, I call it like it's a shower for our brain and body. Like that's how I like to visualize it. Like we're going to bed. It's a time for a shower for our brain and body. And it's the time that is meant that we need to have to rest and recover. And if we have anything that's interfering with that, it's going to affect, like you said, our mood. It's going to affect our brain health. It's going to affect our hormones. It's going to affect our cortisol. It's going to affect our hunger. We're going to reach for those more sugary, carby snacks because we're looking for energy because we don't have it. Like it's all those things that we don't, all the things that I've learned just on my journey. Like, wow, I had no idea. None.
I don't think most people don't. They don't associate that everybody eat, no matter how clean you eat, we all have nutritional gaps. And a lot of times the gaps that we have are the reason why we crave certain foods. Now, when you fill it from a nutritional standpoint, you fill that gap. You're not craving the stuff as much anymore. So it really is a balance, and really, really deciding that, hey, my health and wellness, my husband's not going to do it, or your wife is not going to do it, your girlfriends are not going to do it, your kids or your parents, no one's going to do it. But the reflection of the person that you look at every day in the mirror.
Yes.
So you really have to be the best advocate for yourself, always.
Yes. I told my husband, I said, honey, I love you. I know this is our TV time, but I can't watch Ozarks and Stranger Things in our bed anymore right before sleep. I'm having nightmares. And then Netflix, right? It just keeps going on to the next episode and next episode. Before you know it, it's 11 o'clock.
You get stuck on this series, and then it's like,
yes,
oh my God, I'm 4 hours into it. No, skip the next episode.
Yes.
well, we were stimulated in so many different ways with, as you mentioned, our, cell phones, our iPads, whatever it may be. I mean, boom, we can find out something instantaneous. We get our alerts instantaneous. Yes. And for me, I had to turn off a lot of my alerts because I found that I was getting too anxious. Like I was like, what's going on? I got to stop that. But, it just goes back to show you that, with your help, you really need to kind of hit that pause button. And it's okay to do that and focus on your self-care, focus on your sleep.
It's not selfish. And I think that's part of the issue. A lot of, especially from a woman's perspective, like, ooh, will I appear selfish? Well, you know what? Be selfish. If you're the one that that you've got to do the work and you need that space within your home to say, you know what, I got to start journaling what I'm eating, or I got to start reading labels more. I got to try to figure out timelines. Because I always say, if you're no good to yourself, how are you going to be good to anybody else?
Exactly. Yes. 100%. Yes. And your kids and your husband and your wife or your girlfriend, they're all watching. So you're leading by example, and you are the best version of yourself for yourself and for them. So
I think too, it's about, choosing your hard. We know it's hard work, but choosing it wisely, and you can choose it wisely in a way that complements your lifestyle.
Yeah. It's
absolutely
your own personal journey. Everyone's journey is different.
It sure is. What would you say is one strategy? And I know I have a few in my head that always pop up as a health coach, that I always share with everyone, like, what is one strategy that works so well, that you're giving out this advice and it works so well, but so differently for all your clients?
Gosh, there's so many. For me, I think with most of my clients is the food is it's a big struggle. And I do believe the food is a big piece of it and how we feel. I believe food is medicine. The biggest piece of advice that I tell my clients is plan ahead. Plan ahead, make sure you have food, good, healthy food that you enjoy ready to eat in your fridge that you can grab to fuel your body. And if you're going out to eat and you don't want to, gorge in all the chips and salsa that come to the table, eat some vegetables before you go so that you're not full. I mean, you're not hungry, like, ravenous for all of that. Those are some of the tips and tricks that I use in my day now. Like, oh, we're going to go to this Mexican restaurant. Okay, well, I'm going to eat like a cup of broccoli or eat a little, salad first before I go, so I'm not starving. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I do the same thing too. And because I'm so strong, I'm also an intermittent faster. So I have, and I try to fast at least 20 hours a day. It
Oh.
works for me. I know
Yeah.
that's a struggle for a lot of people, but I'm very picky as to, a lot of times we'll go out and everyone's like, you're not eating. I go, I really, number one thing I tell people is eat when you're hungry, period. There's a lot of boredom. And I love the fact that you talked about having things readily available because like Ann and I, we always talk about, you open up that fridge and you just kind of staring it down. Like, what do I want to eat? Well, you are now added to your electric bill because you're opening up the refrigerator and not grabbing what you need to get out and get your day on. But you're also, are you really truly that hungry? Or are you bored? So now let's see what I can dig into, which serves no one, doesn't serve your gut any health, and it doesn't serve your mindset because then you're going to feel all pissy after the fact.
Yeah.
Like, why did I eat that damn half a pie? There was nothing else in there to grab.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Another thing too, I think a misconception is that women are like, oh, I'm never going to be able to enjoy this again. I won't be able to enjoy that again. And that's not true. I still eat junk food, but it's very, very rare now, but and it's a choice. It's like, I know how I'm going to feel after I eat this. Do I want to eat this? Like last night. I know that my sleep was
having such a good time.
disrupted.
Yeah, I ate that sugar candy right before bed. And
Yeah. So it's just having a good balance of it. And I think what's important in the beginning is, just kind of removing it for a while and reintroduce it and see how you feel and just really paying attention to our bodies. And
that's not selfish.
Mm-mm.
And that is so not selfish, people. I mean,
No.
you really have to do that in order, especially too, Jan and I talk about like the different, the decades, of the different seasons of your life. And we know once we reach a certain point, you do think of longevity and how you are going to really be the healthiest version of yourself for as long as you can. And if you start really advocating for health and wellness and really implementing it by showing by example to your children, for them to get a good basis of why do I eat good and healthy doesn't mean you're eating just carrots and celery sticks, people.
No. No, I love the food I eat. It's very delicious.
Yeah. And another thing too, I think a lot of times when we are hungry, it's often because we are dehydrated.
Yeah. Yeah. I have my water with electrolytes right now.
All the time.
Got mine right here.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Always drinking some water. Water does the body good in all aspects between hydration, flushing out, good for your skin, your nails. And really also just really if you are on that health and wellness journey of weight loss, it's a great advocate to, again, and you can flavor them with so many different things. Vegetables, fruit, just smush them up, let them stay in overnight, and it's refreshing, hydrating, but also really doing your body good. So that is a key piece to health and wellness always is water.
Yeah.
And of course, instead of overnight oats, you can do overnight water.
Yeah.
Maybe up peeing a little bit, but that's just how the cookie crumbles.
That is true. Jenny, where can our viewers and listeners connect with you further?
I would say I'm most active on Instagram. So you can find me at Jenny, JENNYAZ_coach. And I have a quiz available on my website for women to take to find out if blood sugar is the issue that's interfering with their weight loss. And you could find that at simplifiedlifestylecoaching.com.
Awesome. And of course, we will make sure all of that information is in the show notes. Before we sign off, do you have any other tips, like for somebody who is listening to this and is like, this is, great information, but like, I don't know where to start. What would be your advice to them?
Especially, I think let's narrow that down even further, like regarding sugar specifically. Like they're wondering, hey, maybe they've got relatives that had diabetes. I know you mentioned that monitoring kit. How would that, would that be a good start for them?
Yeah, that might be, for me, that was a good start. It was something I wanted to know. It was a tool that actually showed, hey, this is what's going on with your body. But some people might be overwhelmed by it. So I think when they're starting, to just start somewhere. When it comes to our health, is it sleep, food, or movement? Like, what do you want to start with first? Because it can seem so overwhelming. Like, oh gosh, I have all these things that I need to do. I want to start. And if you're planning to, okay, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to make sure that I prioritize sleep and eat all the vegetables and move, that could be so overwhelming. So just find one thing to start with, whether it's making sure you're getting your water every day, or making sure that you're turning off electronics a couple hours before bed. Just start with one thing. And once you master that, move on to the next and write it down. What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? Write it down, start with one thing, and then move on to the next.
Love that.
Wow.
Because it can be overwhelming, because you hear all this different stuff, and then journaling, and I got to read labels. I got to figure out why I'm not sleeping good. I got to turn my devices off. I don't know what to do. So I mean, I can just, it does. It gets cuckoo.
And my journey was not like a couple weeks or a few months. It's been a 5-year process that I've been on this journey. And so sometimes I have to remember that I'm sitting in sessions with clients and I'm saying things to them, and they're like, wait, what? I'm like, wait, let me slow down. Let me slow down. It's too much. I know. Let's just do this one thing.
And the process, anytime you really are changing a major piece of your health and wellness, depending on what you are narrowing it down to, we're so used to, as a society, a quick fix. Let me Google that. I've got this event coming up, and geez, this product says I can lose 15 pounds in 7 days. And we have to understand that the reason, really and truly, the way things are successful within yourself and in your body is if it isn't a quick fix.
Yes.
Because a lot of the issue is habit. And if you've got to change the habit, you don't change the habit overnight, people. You don't even change it in a week. You start somewhere, and start somewhere small, but it's always, there's a process of being successful to get to the different stepping stones within the journey. So I think we got to be kinder to ourselves at the end of the day.
Yes, for sure.
Love that.
Yeah. And celebrate the wins, celebrate the small wins too. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And there's such a connection and an emotional tie to food that journaling aspect will certainly, help you discover, like, oh, okay, every day at 10 a.m. I'm getting cranky. Why is that? At 3 o'clock, as you mentioned, or 2 o'clock, I'm exhausted. I'm so sleepy. Like, write those little things down, because those things really mean a lot.
Yes. Yeah. Tracking.
I did that once with a Milky Way bar years ago. And I would eat a whole Milky Bar. Screw the little nugget sizes. That's no fun. Let's be real. And I did that for a week. This was years ago. I ate the big one of those, a big bar, and got that burst of, obviously, sugar, caffeine, because there's caffeine in it, obviously, as well. Rush, and then I could just feel like I was on that hamster wheel. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted.
Yes.
So you really start to really be in tune with how your body is. And if there is a food group or something that you're not really sure is the culprit, do your due diligence, eat it at the same time every day, and see if that's maybe a root cause of why in that particular time frame you're not feeling well.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. People are creatures of habits. Oh, yep, I stop at that Starbucks every morning, get my whatever la latte that's about 5,000 words long, along with my, jelly cream donut or whatever the heck I'm eating, and I'm wondering by 10 o'clock why I feel like crap. Well, let's do the homework. Let's figure it out.
And some people are so used to feeling that way that they don't realize that they don't feel well until they change how they're
Yep.
eating
Yep.
and sleeping and all those things. Are like, wow, like I just feel, for me personally, I feel the best I've ever felt when I was younger, like, and I just didn't realize that that was possible. I think that's why I'm just so passionate about it. Cause I tell ladies, you can too. It's at
Yeah.
your fingertips. You could feel
Absolutely.
this is great too. So yeah.
And that resonates just by the way that you talk. You see the passion that you truly want to help people. And we are so blessed and honored. And I would love to have Jenny back to give us some updates on everything that you're doing. It's been a great podcast.
Yeah. Thank you both so much for having me. I'd love to come back and chat some more.
Oh, for sure. We definitely want you to come back. And on that note, on this Mindset Monday, before we do sign off, Carol Sue, we need to come up with a question of the day.
Oh, here we go. Monday Mindset question of the day. Why not? Well, mine would be more of a statement. Why not put yourself first? Or why do you not put yourself first?
Okay, why, you heard it here. Why do you not put yourself first? And on that note, we want to thank Jenny, of course, for being here today. Such an amazing podcast. I really was scribbling a lot of notes, lots of great.
I've got lots of notes here.
Oh yeah, for sure. And remember on this Mindset Monday, why do you not put yourself first? And on that note, again, Jenny, thank you so much. My name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I'm with
TwoSistas, and this is Carol, aka Naughty Boss. And I'm telling you, you do deserve to be first. You do just have to realize it's not selfish. If you want to be impactful to other people that you want to serve, you got to start with serving up yourself. With that, we will see you tomorrow for Triumph Tuesday. I know we're going to be triumphing over a lot of stuff that we're talking about today. Everyone have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.